Thank you guys for being here. Let me just start right in. Flutterwave, for those people who don't know it, can you tell us very tight time, what is Flutterwave? What are you doing these days?
So at Flutterwave, where enterprises in Africa get paid and pay across the continent. We operate across multiple countries today in Africa, from Nigeria to Kenya, South Africa, Uganda, Egypt, we're everywhere. And our goal is to help corporates and enterprises get paid and pay across Africa. And also, we also have a very interesting cyber remittance product called SendApp, which Africans in diaspora can use to send money back home to Africa.
Great. And then how did you guys end up working together? Because you're working together.
We are, yeah. So I work with American Express, and we're trying to really increase our presence in Africa because we're seeing that move away from cash that's taking so many different forms, but also card. So we're looking for partners all across the spectrum. We work with large banks, and we work with exciting fintechs like what GB has created, and so that's how we got linked up.
So can we just talk a bit about on American Express? You know, the perception of American Express, okay, my perception, maybe I think other people's perception, is that you guys sort of target very higher-end demographics. Are you going into Africa because you think there is an emerging, larger, higher-end demographic, or are you rethinking your strategy for whom you're trying to work with?
I think there's a couple of things. One is our target customer absolutely exists all over Africa, and so we want to make sure we're there to serve them. We also have really expanded out, I think, who we're talking to. So you'll notice here in the US, more and more people, maybe younger folks who you wouldn't have thought might have had an Amex before are now interested. We're trying to bring that to Africa as well. But then also, really importantly, American Express card members from all over the world are coming to Africa in more and more numbers. So through business travel, through personal and leisure travel. And so when they arrive in any of the countries in Africa, we want them to be able to use their card. And we want to make sure that those local businesses benefit from the spend that's coming in from those international customers.
So GB, how do you look at American Express as a partner? What does it do for your business, and how do you see the partnership growing?
So our goal at Flutterwave is to connect to all payment types available in the world today, right? We want to be the one-stop shop API for our merchants to get paid anywhere in the world, right? So American Express is one card network that we see as a major partner for that goal. We believe today via one API and via our infrastructure, you can access a myriad of payment types across the world, not even Africa. So when a Flutterwave merchant has our API integrated, their customer can pay now with American Express on our platforms in Nigeria, in Uganda, Tanzania, which we're going to be launching very soon. The goal is to expand American Network's reach in Africa via Flutterwave.
And what are the biggest impediments you face at Flutterwave in building out your company? Do you meet resistance from established banks and banking networks? Do you meet resistance from governments? Where do you encounter resistance as you're trying to build out your business?
Great question. So unlike Europe, where with one license in Europe, I can access the entire Eurozone, right? In Africa, it's the reverse. I have to get to every country, get licensed, get incorporated, get regulated, which we have to do country by country. So it's a longer journey for us to be able to actually access the entire African framework for our customers. We have to go into every country, get incorporated, get licensed, get regulated, get compliance set up, risk set up. It's a lot of work, right? But our goal is to get that done so that we can make Africa feel like a country to our merchants, right? Even though it's not one. And the goal is via payments. We want to solve that problem and make it one API that makes payments really seamless for Africa.
But there must be people, I'm just imagining there are people who benefit by having it not be one country, by people who benefit by their own national, they own a national market, they want to protect their national market, they don't necessarily want competition coming from a fintech like you.
So the way I see it is very simple. If I'm sending money today, so before this collaboration happened, if a merchant in Johannesburg or Lagos wants to get paid by a customer in New York City, right? If they have an American Express card, that will not happen on our platform. But now, that can happen seamlessly via just one click. Put in your card number, pay, and it just works, right?
Yep.
Now, if you think about money movement in itself, right? If money was moving from Nigeria to Ghana, for example, that takes like 2-3 days if you're going to go through the SWIFT network. But if you have an American Express card right now, it's just instant payment on our platform. And that actually expands the market size for an average African enterprise, or even a global merchant who wants to get paid in Africa as well. And the whole point is we want to make Africa the hub of payments across the world, not just even for Africa alone, right? We want to also compete in Africa and make it easy for any company operating anywhere in the world to bring their payment business to us in Africa, because now you can access American Express via Flutterwave. It's the same thing. It works.
And do you see your market expanding at some point beyond Africa, or do you just want to stitch together as much of Africa as possible?
Well, Africa is a lot of work, so we're still figuring that out.
Place.
Yeah, so for now, Africa, but we want to deepen our roots in Africa. We want to go deeper in Africa, make it easy for merchants and businesses across Africa to get paid via Flutterwave, via any payment type, including, of course, American Express cards.
So what is the, I want to go back to something I was saying before. If you're in the market today, what is your biggest challenge in succeeding, what you're trying to do?
So it varies depending on sector, right? We have to obviously, we cannot outgrow the macro of the continent, obviously. We have to constantly help our businesses to scale in their sector. For example, you have companies like Piggyverse in Nigeria, who is doing amazingly well in enabling savings with millennials and Gen Zs in Africa. We power them as well to do their payout in Africa. If you get into an Uber today in Joburg or in Cairo or Lagos or anywhere in Africa, they're on our platform. But the goal is, if we make payments so simple that you can focus on your core business, then you can actually start getting to the growth opportunity here, right? And with what we've done right now with American Express, you can actually now receive money from anyone, anywhere in the world. It's not just an Africa story, and it's a global story now. Right. If you get an American Express card issued in America, issued in the UK, it doesn't matter. It will now work on our platform, and we're exposing the entire Amex network to our merchant base, basically.
And so is American Express on the other side of this? Are you globalizing in ways that you haven't been before? I mean, obviously Africa is a new market, but where else are you?
We want to be everywhere. So for me, a huge focus is Africa, and what GB was talking about of making it easy for businesses to accept payments all around the world. Like, that's exactly why we link up with a company just like this, because I want to make sure that these businesses can benefit from the spend everywhere. So in my role, I cover all of Africa. I also cover Eastern Europe and Central Asia, so lots of places where maybe you might not have thought about American Express before, but we're there. And when you're traveling, you should be able to use your card, and the local businesses will benefit from that. So we really see it as a symbiotic relationship between those travelers around the world and also the local merchant base, but also local customers. Like, we have African card members in Africa, in Nigeria, in South Africa, in Kenya. They travel all around as well. And so every single one of our card members, we want to make sure they have a great experience.
Excellent. Well, listen, it's great to hear about the partnership and see what the success you have has been. And thanks for your time, and let's give them a hand.
Thank you.